Hi all, this is Allmighty and welcome to this video. So today I'm going to show you a game from the Prochess League, a league that finished actually this weekend on Sunday. It was the last game, the last match, but it is a league that kind of went under the radar on this channel. So I used to show a couple of games from actually Magnus Carlsen playing the Prochess League, but other than that I didn't quite cover it. But since it is finished and Armenian Eagles eventually won, I kind of felt obligated to report at least on one of the game and on the news how it actually ended up. So for those of you who don't know, Prochess League is actually a league hosted by chess.com. It used to be played over the internet on the chess.com website. You had players and teams all around the world. They played in a kind of a system that is usually played, for example, if you watch NBA or you watch hockey, you had some divisions, and in the end, the leaders went into some kind of a playoff, and the final four was played last weekend in San Francisco. So as it was, actually the teams flew in San Francisco, and there they actually played once again on chess.com. They had some computers, but it was a live event. You had some audience, you had some commentators, and as I saw on the photos, it kind of looked like a great time. In the end, as you probably know by now, the Armenian Eagles won, and in the finals they actually played against Chengdu Pandas. Other two participants that entered Final Four were St. Louis Archbishops and also the Ljubljana Turtles. So, all in all, in the Prochess League, you had players from the top players in the world, up and down to the amateurs. So everybody was allowed to participate. The only rule was that you actually play over the chess.com website, and you had players like Magnus Carlsen playing, Leon Aronian, Fabiano Caruana, Maxime vachier-lagrave, Shakiri Ahmediyarov. So essentially, almost all the people that participated later in the candidates tournament and also in the Grenke Chess Classic. But as it is, Prochess League started in January and lasted until last weekend, so you wouldn't imagine that the top players could play all the time. So in the end, the top players were kind of focused on the candidates and on the Grenke Chess Classic, and they missed the last couple of rounds in the Prochess League, but Prochess League continued, and in the end, once again, Armenian Eagles won. So as it started in the finals, they played against Chengdu Pandas, and the Chengdu Pandas actually were leading in the first part of the match, but in the end the Eagles equalized. It was 8-8, and the match had to go into overtime, so they call it. So it is essentially a tiebreak, where instead of playing a 15+2 game, they played 3+1. So blitz game, and it all ended up when these two players were in a match, in a game playing for essentially winning the Prochess League. On the white side we have Wang, so one of the strongest chess players today, I think in top 3 Chinese chess players, and on black side we have Zaven Adriasyan, so Armenian Grandmaster, and essentially just going for that win. Who wins? Essentially, it was like a blitz death match. Who wins will actually win the whole match for his team, and essentially win the finals and win the Prochess League for this year. So that being said, I would like to show you the game. So we have G3 and E5. Something called a Hungarian opening. I haven't yet shown it in this channel, but after a couple of moves you will see that it transposes into some kind of an English opening. And essentially you see it after C4, G6, knight to C3, and after bishop to G7 we go into Taimano variation. So we have D3 and D6 and E4 now. Knight from G2 E7 and knight from G2 E2. Castles and castles. As we can see, both white and black are kind of mirroring each other, playing the moves, playing cautiously, but at the same time having some ideas. Definitely want to save the openings that you know the best for blitz matches, definitely of this importance. Here, as you know, probably know, knight would like to jump to D5 for white, and knight would like to jump to D4 for black. But one big difference in this situation is that white has this kind of weak d3 pawn, and probably black would like to take advantage of it later in the game. We have bishop to e6 and now knight to d5 right away. So Wang is the first one to actually break out of the so-called, not real symmetry because black doesn't have c5, but going out of this mirroring of the moves. We have queen to d7 and bishop to g5. So attacking twice on this knight. So we have f6, bishop has to move, bishop to e3, and now f5. So black decided to break open the f-file so that he has some kind of an attack. Now we have f4 and rook from a to e8. As you can see, both of the players keep the tension in the center, and they're just waiting for the other one to continue with the play. We have queen to d2 now, improving the position of the queen. Also, if there are exchanges here, guarding on b2. And we have now knight to d4. And now we go through the series of exchanges. Now, because as we can see, almost everything is equal in the position. Only white has the c4 pawn and black has the rook on e8. Now we have knight captures on d4 and pawn captures on d4. And here, essentially, black is kind of in a better position because after knight captures on e7, rook captures on e7, bishop has to go to f2. Essentially, black is the one who has the rook also on the e-file. Now we have also pawn captures, bishop captures, and now bishop captures on c4. A nice little tactic. So if white captures, you have rook captures, and essentially black is a pawn up with the passed pawn. So pass d pawn, rooks will double up on the e-file, and black will probably win this game. So after bishop to c4, we have bishop captures on b7, but bishop comes back to e6 and bishop comes back to g2. After all of this, they exchange one pawn, but white is left with this weak d3 pawn from the beginning of the game. So we have c5 stabilizing in the center, and now we have rook from f to e1, rook from f to e8. So both of the players want to occupy the open e-file, and now b3. Kind of stopping the idea of pushing the d5 pawn and c4 for the moment, but black will definitely want to go for it. Now bishop to f5 was an option, opening up the e-file for those doubled rooks, but here first black played h5 so that the king can come on h7 if, for example, bishop to d5 would be an idea. We have rook to e2, bishop to f5, and rook from a to e1. Now just improving the position of the bishop, bishop to f6, and now rook captures on e7. Rook captures on e7 and bishop to e4. Also wants to exchange the bishops, and now king to g7. Black doesn't go for the exchanges, he just wants to improve the position of his pieces. We have bishop captures on f5, and now black could have played queen captures on f5 here, and probably after this he didn't like that queen will be the one which in the end will be on the e-file, so because of that he captured with the pawn. G captures on f5, and now after rook captures, queen captures, the black queen is the one which is on the e-file. But we have queen to d1 and king to g6 because this pawn was attacked, and we have king to g2, also improving the position of the king, and now d5. So here essentially in this position, the position is completely equal. We are in the end game, but as we can see, black is the one who tries to make some some attacking moves, essentially playing d5, planning to play c4 to make a passed pawn. So we have h3 preparing g4, but queen to e6 stopping. We have queen to e1, wants to exchange the queens, but now queen to c6, black doesn't want to go for it, he is going for a win. We have queen to e2 now, and this is actually a mistake from white side. Essentially, when black played queen to c6, now he put the queen on this diagonal where the king is. And as we all know, since he played d5, he is preparing to push c4. And after playing queen to e2, c4 was quite a possibility because essentially after those captures, so as it was in the game, d captures on c4, d captures on c4, this is the check, and now black has two passed pawns. Essentially just a better move here was king to g1, moving out of the way so that these exchanges in the end come something like this. And okay, black in the end has a passed pawn, but after queen to e8, he has to play this game, continue to play this game. If he plays queen to f7, white can exchange and just go for a draw. So there are a lot of checks here, and it is difficult for black to actually defend. But essentially what we had after queen to e2 and c4, d captures on c4, d captures on c4, queen to f3. And now instead of exchanging queens, black actually went queen to c8. I mean, that's how it is in blitz games. You don't actually have that much time to calculate all the variations, but essentially a win is pretty much straightforward here. After queen captures, you have c3, and now you have a decision. Do you want to come closer with the queen, with the king, or with the bishop? If you go with the king, c2, king to d2 and d3, now you can capture the pawn because c1 is queen. So bishop to e3, and after bishop to b2, king captures and c1 queen. This is just, yeah, a piece up, and yeah, black has 3 pawns and a bishop, and that will be pretty much enough to actually win the game. So essentially, okay, I wanted to show you one other variation instead of going with the king, for example, bishop to e1, but now you also have d3, king to e3, c2, bishop to d2, bishop to b2, and once again c1 is the next move. So once again you're in the same situation, but as I've said, king to c8 was played here, and now we have big captures on c4 and queen captures on c4. A little bit of a difference, queen isn't on e1, so she cannot give check right away. But white, Wang goes for it by playing queen to a8 so that he can come from behind and give some checks. But now there is this queen to a2, and after queen to e8 check, queen to f7 comes, and now there is exchange is no good for white, because there is still, now there is actually a pawn advantage. This a pawn can come and be promoted to a queen easily. So queen to c6 and king to g7, unpinning the bishop because on d4 was attacked, king to f3 and a5, pushing the other pawn. Queen to b5, attacking these 2 pawns, and queen to e6. If you capture the pawn now, queen to e4 is checkmate. So queen to d3 is played, but now queen to d5, king to e2 is the only move, and now a4. Slowly but surely black is just pushing the pawns. We have queen to a6 now, probably going for some checks behind, but d3. The idea is if queen captures, king captures, this pawn will be unstoppable to actually, yeah, he will be just promoted, because after king to c2, this b2 square is guarded by the bishop and b1 square is guarded by the pawn, and there is no actually defense against a1 queen. So white would be losing this game. So after d3, king to d2 was played. But we have queen to a2, and yeah, essentially if you go here, this is checkmate on e2, and if you go on e3, then once again queen to e2, king, and also checkmate. So you have to capture on d3, and queen captures on f2. So now even, yeah, black is a piece up, and there are no perpetuals. So he actually just quickly blitzed out g4 in this situation, and black played queen to f1, and in this position Wang resigned the game. The reason is, if the king, when the king moves, wherever he moves, queen to a6 is the next move, and yeah, essentially black has a queen and a bishop, and checkmate will soon follow. So yeah, this is essentially it. This is the last game, the game that actually brought the Armenian Eagles the title. Congrats actually on that. So congrats to them on that success. It was quite a fun game in the end. Yeah, just small things decided. But yeah, it's kind of difficult to play this end games where you have the queens and also the bishops and a lot of pawns. Definitely have to take a lot of things into account. But okay, that being said, that has been pretty much it for this season of the Prochess League. And yeah, I would like to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time.